that's a huge number living with some sort of brain injury. So, again, the show today is kind of all about awareness of what to look for, the fact that there are a lot of people who have had brain injuries that probably should have been looked at that weren't. And then also, we can also, are there ways to prevent these brain injuries?
Well, you got to have a helmet on, right?
Yeah, if you're riding.
If your kids are on a scooter, if your kids are on a bicycle, keep that damn helmet on.
Yep.
If you're on a motorcycle, put your helmet on.
Yep.
If you're playing sports or your kids are playing any kind of sports, take some initiative and ask those coaches, are they trained in concussion awareness? Are they trained to notice these
That's
things?
A good one.
Red flag.
Yeah.
Is the county, is the school, is the private entity going to provide trainers that are watching, doctors that are watching?
Seriously. Yeah.
And that was the aspect of that big verdict that we had a couple years ago. That's still up on appeal. They didn't have any training staff there, and this poor little kid who was a promising student athlete and very smart, he gets a brain injury, and now his life trajectory and what his possible earning capacity just goes down through the roof.
Yeah. If my kids are playing a sport, I want like what I get in daycare. I want my accident report where I go home and they're like, this is what happened to your kid today. He got hit. But I think as kids get older, they're in high school or whatever. It's kind of, again, it's one of those things where it's just like tough it out,
We can't, because and even when they're younger and than that age, your brain's still developing, and you can have you can knock your hormones out of balance, and it can really mess you up for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And so, and it's different than when you're in college, you're fully grown. If you're like an NFL player, you still don't want to get a concussion, but that's a different ball game than having these in childhood.
Obviously, I know you guys aren't doctors, but like, what is kind of like the treatment plan if these people do have these brain injuries? Do they just have to deal with it, or is there something that can help?
Yeah, so there's new therapies again that they're going to want you to literally sit and do nothing, right? If you have a concussion, that is the number one thing. How feasible is that in most cases? Well,
right.
It's tough to do, especially everybody on their cell phone and everything. But there's different vision therapies they can do. Of course, they're going to do a lot of different radiology scans, CAT scans, MRIs, try to identify what lobe of the brain is affected, what actually caused the actual brain injury.
Right.
Could be vision therapy, other physical therapies, different things like that.
Yeah.
It depends on your symptoms. So we've got people who have trouble with their speech now, so they'll be in speech therapy or cognitive therapies or vision therapies. So it really is dependent on like what part of the brain was injured and what the symptoms are will sort of direct the treatment.
Sure.
And so normally the neurologist is the one who's making those decisions, and then they're sending you to the different therapies and things like that.
But it's still good to know that there are those therapies that they can work on.
But it's definitely not like a one-size-fits-all brain injury treatment.
Or like, you're injured, sorry.
Yeah, because the brain controls all the parts of your body, so it depends on what part is injured.
They're doing new hyperbaric chambers. They'll let you sit in that for hours at a time, to kind of take the pressure off your whole body.
Oh, wow.
Like when scuba divers come up, if they have to sit in a hyperbaric chamber,
wow.
they'll do that. They're doing the hormone therapy, the testosterone, HGH therapies, and they're constantly testing. And that's why we go to San Diego. That's the number one brain, what's the word I'm looking for?
Conference.
But no, the hospital out there, it's experimental. They're doing all the experimental treatment.
Do all the research.
And so that's the research. So, it's the number one research facility in the world. That's why we go out there to meet. And we were out there with thousands of lawyers, thousands of doctors, and we all get together because the doctors are talking to the lawyers, the lawyers are talking to the doctors, because we're working for the same goal here.
That's great. Yeah.
And then we're bringing it all the way back here to Myrtle Beach, where there's only 2 or 3 neurologists.
Yeah, the doctors we met out there were awesome, because you just learn about all the things that can be done. But then we get back here to Myrtle Beach and we're workshopping, like, so how do we get our clients
you
access to that kind of care?
As we said in the conference, I'm like, Sarah, we need to find someone like him.
Yeah.
We're just like him.
And Sarah and I were talking about it. We're going to have to piece this together, right? Because we found an ear, nose, and throat who might be able to do the VSG treatment, right? And then we might need to send somebody down to MUSC to get a certain MRI. And that's just the sad truth of the healthcare here at the beach right now. We're lagging behind those brain treatments.
Yeah, we come back all fired up from the best in the world, and we're like, and then we have to figure out how we can make that work and get our clients access to those cares. We have to deal with health insurance and all those things. Like, how does it get paid for? And so it's definitely difficult.
Yeah,
but I think
the knowledge of it is key. Like what you're just talking about, having to piece things together. I mean, thank God for the sake of our clients that you guys do that, because you're going to be able to give them the best care that they can get in the area. The best tests and stuff that are ran, because you guys went to to learn about that. So was there anything else that you guys kind of picked up out there? I mean, I know you picked up a lot, but was there anything else that kind of stuck out to you as a surprise with these brain injuries or anything? Did you see actual brains when you were there?
I did not. I did see the cadaver, but I actually was in the one on the spine.
Okay.
And I did get to touch it.
You touched the spine?
The spine.
Ooh.
Well, we also got to participate in the crash lab was awesome.
I loved it.
They lined cars up because a lot of these, like we've been talking about, are low speed crashes, might be whiplash. You don't think it's going to be a brain injury.
And the property damage is not very much.
But when you see it happen, so we lined up a rear viewer, bam, low speed. But when you see it and we can videotape it, you can see the forces that are being moving and being placed on the brain. We see the T-bone. We see the triple rear ender. They lined all that stuff up, and that was real cool. It was real hands-on.
The next day, they went over all of the information that they got from it, showed you the camera footage of when it, at the time of the impact, they showed you the airbags deploying, and even the one that was going, they did a crash at 25 miles per hour, and you could see how their heads whipped all around. And how this airbag busts them in the face. And even though they're standing there saying, "Oh, we're okay," we're looking like, "No, you're not."
They're having a workers' comp claim right now.
Yeah. But they had the cars all censored up, so they were like measuring the forces of just, and I mean, those cars were crashed by people pushing them, so they were going like 5 miles an hour. But you're seeing the crazy forces that the people inside would have felt.
That is super interesting. Cool. Yeah.
And another thing that's important is we will never get that data that we were able to see because we were in a controlled environment. But in real life, we never get that data if the client doesn't get to us quick.
Right.
So when you get in an accident, you need to hire a lawyer, whether it's us or whoever it is. I hope it's us. But give us a call. We'll give you a free consultation, and we make sure we get that black box data so we're able to prove this stuff later in trial.
Yeah. And the black box is what? Is that what's in? Is that something in the vehicle?
Yeah, in all new model vehicles, it's tracking everything. It's tracking how fast the car's going, if the airbags deploy, were you wearing your seatbelt.
Wow.
Everything.
And it was really interesting to see the triggers for the airbags. They talked about what kinds of speeds and what kind of forces.
See, that's always interesting.
The older cars are obviously a lot different.
Yeah.
And these were older cars that they smashed up on purpose. So they had to put all those sensors in there. But the newer cars have that stuff already in there and even more data. So if we're contacted early enough, we can really get everything.
So we'll send our
even
experts.
videos from the car of the crash happening.
Wow.
We'll send our experts to download all that.
Yeah.
We've got it.
That's fascinating. Yeah. Really cool. I'm glad you guys all went to that. Welcome back. But, well, that's awesome. Well, obviously, Brain Injury Awareness Month, we wanted to chat about this stuff. It's really important. If you feel like you may be experiencing some brain injury, let us know. We can help you get to whatever doctor you need to get tests done. Any final thoughts?
Again, just, watch this, share this video, right? Because we might teach you, but you need to teach your friends so they can teach their kids. And let's just keep spreading the education and keep your helmet on. That's my That's my tips for this riding season and the whole
safety
summer
gear.
season. There you go. Safety first.
Gear. That's right. Anything from you ladies? No? All right. Well, thank you so much for watching the Carolina Justice Report today. Please let us know if you have any questions on this topic or any of the others. You can reach us online at justiceslovely.com. Also, we're on all your social media channels, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. We always love to hear from you guys, so we would love to hear any questions you might have. Thanks so much for watching today on the Carolina Justice Report. We'll see you next week.